My name is Natalie Hall from the Language Factory, and we are a leading translation agency, and we've been helping clients engage audiences around the world for over 30 years. And I am delighted today to be joined by Marlon, Director of Fundraising at the MicroLoan Foundation. Marlon, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Great to have you on this very wintry day. It'd be really lovely to hear, first of all, a little bit about yourself, the work that you do for this fantastic charity.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, I'm the Director of Fundraising and Communications for MicroLoan Foundation. And MicroLoan Foundation is a women's empowerment and poverty alleviation organization. We basically, in the broadest of strokes, what we do is we help women who are living in extreme poverty in Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe to find a way out of poverty. And we do that by providing them with training on how to become entrepreneurs, on financial literacy, on how to manage their money, and then we give them small loans to start up small businesses. So that's in a nutshell.
That's in a nutshell what we do. Well, thanks, Marlon, so much. And here at the Language Factory, we are enormously proud to have been supporting the work of the MicroLoan Foundation for over 10 years now. And we're really pleased to pledge that we will match every donation made to MicroLoan's Christmas appeal up to £50,000 this year.
Very exciting, I have to say.
And maybe it'd be great just to hear a little bit about the appeal and before we learn a little bit more about what MicroLoan do.
Yeah, absolutely. So the appeal is running. You can find out more about it on MicroLoan Foundation's website. And, you know, it basically is featuring a woman called Jennifer, a woman who I met in Malawi earlier this year. Yeah. At this point in time, we are in the growing season. So this is the planting season for the women that we support. 90% of the women that we work with are smallholder farmers. And because of a really, really tough year with increased cost of living, which is hitting poor countries hard, the war in Ukraine is impacting communities all over the world. And all of this combined with an impact of natural disasters on the communities that we work in, we are seeing a famine coming. We are seeing it already in other parts of sub-Saharan Africa and in North Africa, and families in Malawi are already going hungry. They won't get to the point of harvesting until April. They have many months of food insecurity ahead of them. Yeah. What we want to do now is we want people to donate to MicroLoan Foundation so that we can get in there, we can support women, to give them training, give them support so that they can get the inputs to plant and start growing small agricultural businesses or set up small trading businesses so that they can generate an income and basically feed their families over the coming months.
And it's such critical work that you're doing. And as a female-led business, it's fascinating for us to see that you choose to exclusively support women in sub-Saharan Africa. What's the reason for that decision?
Well, it's a very good question. There are really, the key, first of all, is the fact that women are more likely to be poor. Women and girls are more likely to live in poverty, and we're a social impact organization. We want to maximize our social impact, and therefore, by supporting women, we are reaching the poorest people. The second piece is that women are more likely to spend their income on their children or dependents in their care or on their home and household. Yeah. Therefore, again, it's social impact. We are maximizing the social impact. Finally, the reality is, all over the world, women are better borrowers. They are more likely to repay their loans. So it makes good business sense for us, because every time a woman repays her loan, we're able to either give her a new loan so that she can grow her business, or we can on-lend it to another woman who gets an opportunity to start her journey out of poverty.
Fantastic, thank you. And it was really, we talked a lot about the loans that you obviously offer the women that you work with, but research also shows that microloans are much more effective when they're linked to business training, and which is why we also invested in the ongoing training and mentoring that the MicroLoan Foundation offers in addition to the loans. And what is the most important lesson that the women that you support learn from that, participating in that training program?
I mean, there are so many essential parts in that. And I think it's important to see that before the women get access to a loan, if you imagine that you're struggling to survive on, you know, less than a couple of pounds a day, you will never have had to manage money in a sense that you've never had to understand or deal with savings, for example. You know, the concepts and understanding of finances and how to manage the money is really, really quite basic. So one of the key things in this learning is that they get access to 7 training sessions before they get a loan. And in those training sessions is training on savings and savings behavior and setting a goal for yourself of why it is important to save. And this is one of the key things, especially in a time of crisis like this, that we are seeing the women that MicroLoan work with in comparison to other women and families in the community fare much better because they have a small, but it's still there, safety net of savings. So I would say savings is really the key.
That's really, really interesting. And I think obviously these women are in, you know, oftentimes in dire circumstances, and you're giving them that support and that training. But what are the reasons that they say they run their businesses, in addition to obviously wanting to make a better life for themselves and their family?
Wow, there are so many phenomenal stories and accounts on why the women do this. But the reality is food security for their family and for their children is reason number one, particularly in Malawi, which is the poorest of the 3 countries that we operate in. But very, very tightly followed by that is education for their children. You know, you cannot talk to a single woman or mother in Malawi, Zambia, or Zimbabwe who won't be talking about the importance of education for their children. And that is quite heartwarming if you think about that. A very large number of the women that we work with cannot read or write. They have not had an opportunity to have an education themselves, and they are really, really keen to push their children and to give their children that opportunity, which is lovely. But now I want to ask you, why does the Language Factory support MicroLoan Foundation? What is it that you find, you know, inspiring about our work?
Certainly, thank you for that. And I think many reasons, again, definitely. But Tia, the Language Factory started supporting women in developing countries in about 2005 and set a target of raising £1 million. And our founder, Shona Lockhart, became aware of the work that you do on a visit to Malawi in 2007, actually with Oxfam. And she was also really inspired with the pioneering microfinance work done by Nobel Prize winner Muhammad Yunus in Bangladesh, who helped lift women out of poverty using microloans. And so she met with your founder, Peter Ryan, and she was so impressed with the level of enthusiasm and transparency. And she started to support your work in Malawi, as she could see really the potential of even a small loan and your dedicated training to completely change, as you've mentioned, someone's life and indeed that of their families as well. And in the past decade, the Language Factory has donated over £500,000 to help the MicroLoan Foundation empower women in developing countries, which is hugely important for us. And what's more, Shona herself had experience of training. When she started the Language Factory over 30 years ago, she got a small government grant, and within that grant was also packaged training and mentoring as well. So as you mentioned, for the women that you talk about, how to manage business effectively, how to plan for the future, how to save effectively, how to manage cash flow, all of those things that she got basic training in, but she also got mentoring for the first year of her business. So she really understands how important that training is, in addition to the money that you're providing. And that experience of startup support she received means that she knows how impactful the work that you do can potentially be. And then finally,
I do have to say, the wonderful thing is that, you know, the Language Factory has been on this journey with us. And, you know, when Shona was in Malawi and met Peter, you know, that was still the beginning stages. And it was, you know, we were a small charity then. Now, thanks to the Language Factory and many of our other funders, we are now, you know, a leading microfinance institution in Malawi and Zambia, and the only one truly social microfinance institution operating in Zimbabwe. So I think we've all come a long way.
It's a long way, absolutely. And I think when Shona talks about the work that you do, she really relates it back to her own Scottish grandmother, actually, who had an experience not dissimilar to a lot of the women in Malawi and the other countries that you're working in the sense that she was the oldest child of 8. And she was denied any form of secondary education, and instead she had to help her parents farm the land, which is not an uncommon experience at that time. But really, that being denied that opportunity at such a young age impacted the rest of her life. And Shona is so passionate about the fact that the work that we do with you can mean that women in Malawi can have a different experience to that which her grandmother had. And knowing that you've helped, 324,000 women, which is the most extraordinary total, who've already received loans and training via the MicroLoan Foundation and have empowered them to improve their lives. And knowing, as you mentioned, that 92% of those women will then send their children, all of their children, into secondary education is hugely important in changing the trajectory of not only your clients but their family as well. And as a female leader, Shona, she employs many women, and we really stand behind that approach of investing in women. As you said, shows they're more likely to pay back the loan, but they're also more likely to invest in education, nutrition, healthcare for members of their home and household, which is, we're thrilled to be part of that work for sure.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see the actual impact in these communities, and also how the women are having a totally different attitude to their role in society and their role in the household. That empowerment piece is phenomenal to see. Absolutely phenomenal.
And I mentioned at the top of the call, we're obviously matching your Christmas donations, or the donations to your Christmas appeal, up to 50,000. What kind of work will that be used for going forward?
So a big chunk of that funding, as it kind of trickles in and comes in, will be going to supporting reaching out to new families, new women, and giving them the training and the support they need to get started on their journey, especially at this critical time. This is a really, really critical time. And so that is really what it's going to be focused on. It's going to be focused on delivering the training and delivering those, the capital injections those women need to get started on their business journey.
That's amazing to hear. And look, we at Language Factory look forward to continuing, working with the MicroLoan Foundation as you continue to grow and, as you say, continue to help more women. For anyone watching this video today, thanks, Marlon, so much for joining us. We wish you all the best with your campaign and the work that you do. If you would like to make a donation, either personally or from your company, to MicroLoan Foundation, you can go ahead and visit the MicroLoan Foundation website, as Marlon has mentioned.
And thank you so much to the Language Factory.
Our pleasure. We're really, really grateful to have you today, and I'm sure we'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.